All right, our buddy Roman Harper, Alabama great, New Orleans Saint great, SEC Network analyst, about to hop a plane to Gainesville for SEC Nation, is with us now on the Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys Hotline. What is up, Harp? How are you?
What's up, fellas? How y'all boys doing?
Doing good. You doing all right?
I'm doing good, man. Trying not to talk too loud. I'm in the airport, so
It's okay.
but yeah, I'm good. I can't complain. Just going through some film, looking over some stuff for I got to get done for this weekend.
Who are you watching right now? What film were you just watching? We were watching you in our preview
Uh,
screen. You were taking copious notes on this film.
yeah, man. Well, I got my notes, but I want to pull a couple plays. It's actually from the Alabama-Georgia game about how I've talked about the last couple of weeks, especially versus Wisconsin. I saw a little switch and change in Alabama's defense. I thought that they were playing with the right amount of effort. I still hate their eye discipline, and I still don't like some other things about their defense. But you can make up for it when you play hard and you play with effort. Like effort makes up for mistakes. And look, you aim to be perfect, but it's an imperfect game played by imperfect people. So mistakes will happen, but how close can you be to perfect as you can be? Because that's what I'm always trying to grade upon. And so, but when you play with a sense of effort and a sense of urgency, you can make up for those things. And then you also got to be a little lucky, having a Georgia wide receiver drop a pass, which clearly should have been a touchdown. A little luck. Also on the fourth down stop in the end zone, in the red zone, that Georgia's O-line didn't really block the D lineman. Alabama wasn't even aligned correctly. So, but nobody cares. And so when these things happen, I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting mad watching the tape. But at the end of the day, the end result was Alabama won the game, and it's always easier to correct mistakes after a win than after a loss.
Harp, Diego Pavia, look, nobody coming into the season gave him any credit. They thought it was flukish last year, and he is playing like a top 5 quarterback right now in all of the FBS. The guy is 12-6 as a starting quarterback at Vanderbilt, which is just mind-blowing. They're 5-0 this year. We saw him at SEC Media Days. He was maybe 5'11". When he was walking around in the tuxedo, he really looked like a waiter that was working at the hotel. But we don't
Messed up.
We don't give the guy any credit. And the guy is unbelievable, and he's just got that moxie to him that you want if he's your teammate. What do you see from Diego this year, and how much trouble can he give this Alabama defense?
I'll start with 2 big statements. Number one, this is a tougher matchup for Alabama than last week versus Georgia. I was extremely confident about Alabama last week versus Georgia. This week, I'm actually very nervous. Look, according to Alabama's coaching staff, they missed more tackles versus Vanderbilt than they did versus any other team last year. And the reason why you miss tackles is because you're not in position to make the tackle. And the reason why you're not in position because you got to be eye disciplined. You have to know your job, do your job only because of this option run game that Diego Pavia is a magician with the football. So he knows what he's doing with the football and in this offense. The second thing I want to say is that he's been the most consistent quarterback in the SEC this year. And he's learned how to throw the football better. They have better wide receivers and weapons around him. Cedric Alexander, the running back, is probably the best pass catching running back in all of the country right now. And they're using their guys in different ways that we have not seen. It's not just Eli Stowers, the tight end. He's actually a shell of the production that they had to use him as last year. They're using so many other guys, so many other different weapons, and the O-line is different. And so this is a different team. This is a much better team. This is a once in a lifetime Vanderbilt team. You talk about it. They were 5-0. They haven't been 5-0 since 1915. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime team. This is different. And I'll tell you guys this. You may tell you, and I told Cole Kulik this a couple of weeks ago, when I knew Vandy was different. They're playing Virginia Tech. TV copies on. And they're in the huddle, and I see one of their offensive linemen kind of got their jersey up, tucked in, old school Ezekiel Elliott style or Derek Brooks style, belly out, And when I saw a Vandy offensive lineman with a stomach tattoo, I was like, okay, this is different. This ain't the normal Vandy that I'm used to seeing. They look different. They play with a different attitude. This is a different Vanderbilt team. I'm just telling you.
You're
guys.
saying it wasn't fraternity letters like usually? It wasn't like
No.
fraternity letters?
No, this was not. Big blocked up, the old school Tupac Thug Life looking tattoo. That's what it was. And I'm just like, all right, this is not the typical Vandy that we're used to seeing. This is a different breed.
Yeah. Do you have bodyguards on Saturday? Because I almost walked across the street to say hi to you in Athens, but you look like you were about to get into a car and leave, and you had a big guy around you. So I didn't want to disrupt your flow if you were trying to catch a flight. So I just admired from a distance as I walked back to the stadium. You got big bodyguards with you on Saturdays?
No, I feel like the bodyguards and the security always like brings more attention. I don't want them around. I like to just kind of get around my own way. I had a scooter, and then I actually drove to Athens. So I was probably headed back to my own car to get back out of there because, I wanted to get out before the game started so I could actually watch it at my house in peace with my kids. And we had a great time watching that game last week. It was very, very fun and exciting. A lot of emotions, a lot of yells and screams, but overall, man, just a great atmosphere. I knew Athens was going to bring it. Shout out to the Spike crew, who I actually got to know pre-painted up. Really cool kids, all college kids. They bring the energy, man, and so I really enjoy Athens because of all the people and the environment. And it's a really cool town, and all the bars and everything. It's a cool college town. I give Athens a lot of credit.
If you're gonna hang with Senator Feinbaum, though, you're gonna have security clearance. I'm gonna warn you, Senator.
Oh my
Feinbaum.
gosh. You know what? I will give Paul a lot of credit. Like, Paul is one of the more intelligent guys I've ever seen. Everything is done, like, he is critically thinking through every move that he is making. The fact that this comes out, the announcement, is he even doing it? Then I heard my mom told me last night, he said, well, if President Trump asked me to do it, I'll run for it. I was like, dude, I've had conversations with Paul off, in the car, just us two. It's really interesting to hear that he's doing this now. Yeah. So that's all I'll say about that.
Okay. Back to Alabama's defense. I do want to ask you this because one thing that nobody is doing on them is throwing. Florida State didn't necessarily have to. I don't know if ULM or Wisconsin could, but Gunnar Stockton's a pretty good quarterback. You mentioned the drop touchdown. That's a good break. But aside from that, Alabama, why – is it coincidence that through 4 games nobody's throwing on them? Are they doing something is there something they're doing that makes it difficult to throw on them?
It's a lot of moving pieces to it. I don't even know exactly what it is because I can't wait to see. I'm giving Alabama some credit. I don't want to give them a backhanded compliment like I typically do to a lot of people. I want to be better about that. And so I will give Alabama credit. They're playing. They got some really good players in that secondary. They do. It's not always tied at the hip and can join together. It's guys open a lot, but if they're not going to throw it to them, why are you covering them? So it'd be interesting to see if somebody actually starts to figure out how to attack these guys. But they're making good plays when they have to. I don't want to sit over and act like they're just locked down either, because that's not the case. It's just this weird combination of the quarterback's not finding them. They're doing some different things up front that really confuses guys where you think you have one coverage, but you're getting something else. They do a lot of moving pieces between the secondary. Maybe it's a safety. He looks like he's playing free safety, but now he's playing a hook player. You got him down in the box. Next, he's rolling back and running deep. So guys are moving a lot of different places. And ultimately, if you communicate between it all, you should be able to cover all these guys. And they've done a fairly decent job at that.
Harp, Oklahoma, I think, has really improved. But by far, to me, the most improved team is Mississippi State. Give Jeff Lebby a lot of credit in this league. I've said it. Although they're the most improved, I don't think they're going to win another game. But what are they doing right?
Dang.
Not only offensively, but defensively. I mean, both sides of the ball.
Coach of the year, but you're not going to win another game.
Well, I mean,
this 2 back-to-back backhanded compliments back-to-back.
Well, I mean, they've got to go to go to College Station. They go to Florida, very winnable game, but still it's on the road. Texas, at Arkansas, Georgia, at Missouri, and Ole Miss. I mean, the schedule is absolutely.
You don't think they can beat Texas?
Oh,
you don't think they can beat Texas?
No, I think they
the way
can.
Texas is playing.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're going to be underdogs in all these games. Not that matters. I'm playing the odds that they're not going to win another game. But with that said, they had Tennessee dead to rights. They should be 5-0.
Yeah, I picked Tennessee to win that game because sometimes you gotta learn how to win these games, and I think that's where Mississippi State is in right now. They're in this time of learning how to win that game. They got to be able to protect the quarterback. You can't give up 2 touchdowns when your offense is on the field. That's what really cost them. They gave up. Tennessee scored 2 touchdowns that way. I will say this though, I got Mississippi State winning 2 to 3 more SEC games this year.
Wow.
Just because of how they're playing. They're doing some really, really good things offensively, and they play hard defensively. We got guys flying around. They have a sense of a belief. They're tough, and you got to put them out. And when you're talking about, oh, they're just going to lose to Texas A&M, I'm just not so sure about that. Texas A&M played against Auburn, and the only reason they beat Auburn was because Auburn's terrible offensively. Mississippi State's not that bad, and they're just as competitive defensively. And so how do you continue to not – what Mississippi State has to learn how to do is not beat themselves. And so with Texas A&M, the reason why they allowed Auburn to stay that close because they had 14-plus penalties, 13, 14 penalties for over 100-something yards. So the mental mistakes, if Texas A&M continues the mental mistakes, Mississippi State could easily win this game this weekend. That's what I'm on right now, is that Mississippi State feels like they let one go last week that we should have had. Now we can go on the road and get it back this week. It's just a different team and a different mentality. I really like what I'm seeing out of Mississippi State. And then for Texas A&M, they're playing they're playing well. Marcel Reed's kind of been up and down accuracy-wise, but overall always giving his team a chance to win. I think getting Le'Veon Moss going, the running back for Texas A&M, was really big for them going forward. Hopefully he's back to being healthy like he was last year. And the best is still in front of him.
Okay, you touched on something before you get out of here. I want you to follow up your thought because I have this written down that Arch Manning is only the scapegoat for a bigger problem at Texas, that this team is sloppy and they are really bad at a lot of places, not just with Arch Manning.
I would not call that a false statement. Let me tell you the thing about Arch. So Arch is making it hard to be an offensive coordinator at times because some of the throws that, like, if I want to call a game, some of these throws have got to be layups. When the guy's 8, 10, 12 yards over the middle of the field and he's wide open, I need you to hit that throw. And when he's not hitting those throws the first couple of weeks, it makes it hard to call offense consistent. Now, the offensive line has not played well. They haven't ran the ball really well either this year, which is another big problem with what they did really good last year. And some of the easy throws that they throw out to Wisner or another running back last year, those runs were going for 15, 20 plus. This year they've been going for 3 or 4. So they're not breaking as many tackles. They're not blocking as well up front. And Arch's missed throws. Now, lucky for them, the last game they played before the bye week, he hit those throws. And that's why all of a sudden they looked better offensively. The one concern, though, is that he made the throws and they were catchable balls. They were caught passes, but they were still low. Wide receivers were still having to go to the ground and catch them. I need those to be catch and run situations going forward if Texas wants to achieve ultimately what they say their goals are. Defensively, they've been playing well, but they haven't played anybody. So I want to see how this defense continues to improve, and can they continue to force turnovers at a high rate and really help set their offense up to score easy points? Because right now, Texas, you talk about the things they're not doing well. Third down, they're not doing great on third down offense. They're definitely not doing good on fourth down because they go for it a lot and they don't get that. So those are turnovers they're giving back. And they haven't been great in the red zone either. So they're not putting points on the board when they get down there. So as a team, situationally, they got to improve in those 3 areas if they really want to be good this year. Or not, they'll watch out. Oklahoma, I don't care who the quarterback is, can beat them.
All right, he is Roman Harper. Speaking of Texas, they are visiting Gainesville. Roman will be as well. He's on his way right now from the airport to Gainesville for SEC Nation Saturday morning. See him there and see him on ESPN Sports Center as well. Harp, safe travels, buddy. Thank you for the time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, man. And next time you guys see me anywhere, you better come talk to me in public.
That's on Dunaway.
I didn't want to slow you down.
Right.
Didn't want to slow you down.
No.
Yep.
All right, come on.
Okay.
We're better than that guy.
All right,
I'll talk
see
to
you,
you
Harp.
later.
That is Roman Harper with us on the Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys Hotline.